Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Mandy. So in today's video, I'm going to try something new. I'm going to show you a piece of Chinese ancient literature. Like I mentioned before, in this video, as native Chinese, we learned quite a lot of Chinese ancient literature in the middle school. And in today's video, I'm going to introduce you my favorite one. It's the story of Mulan. By the way, if you're interested in how we native Chinese learn Chinese, please check out this video. I've dropped the link down below in the description box. But watch that later. Watch this video first. Thank you. Back to today's topic, Mulan. Maybe you've heard of the name Mulan. Maybe you learned about her from a movie, maybe a Disney movie, or maybe you learned about her from a book or novel, I don't know. But I learned about her from this ancient Chinese literature. So I want to show you the very original version of Mulan, because Mulan could have a very different story in the movie comparing to the original version. So in today's video, I'm just gonna read that ancient Chinese literature for you and explain a little bit about the story background about Mulan, and just show you the original version of Mulan. So here's the story of Mulan in Chinese ancient literature. As you can see, it's not very long or very short. And I just divided into 3 parts. Mulan is a warrior. She fight in the war. So I divided the story into 3 parts. Part 1 is before the war. Part 2 is during the war. And part 3 is after the war. Just a reminder, this is ancient Chinese, not modern Chinese, because they could be quite different from each other. And if you are a Chinese learner, then try to understand the story. But still, this is ancient Chinese. It's quite different. And don't feel bad if you cannot understand much. Even for me, when I was in middle school, I spent a lot of time to study this. All right? So now let's take the challenge and get started. So the title of this Chinese ancient literature is Mulan Ci or Mulan Shi. It could be both, which means the poem of Mulan. And the first line, 唧唧复唧唧，木兰当户织. So 唧唧 is the sound of the weaving machine, like this. So Mulan is a girl. In ancient time, girl weaves. So 唧唧 is the sound of the weaving machine. So 唧唧复唧唧复 means again. The whole sentence 唧唧复唧唧, which like you can picture this, the weaving machines going and going on. And then 木兰当户织, Mulan, the girl, 当户, which means at the front of the door. 织 is weave. We say 织布, which means weave the fabrics. So as you can see in the first sentence, Mulan is weaving the fabrics at home, and the weaving machine makes the 唧唧 sound. Now as for the second sentence, 不闻机杼声，惟闻女叹息. 闻, which means 听, listen, or hear. So 不闻, which means cannot hear. 机杼, which means 机器. We were just talking about the weaving machine, right? And 声 is for 声音, sound. Okay, so now we know 不闻机杼声, I cannot hear the sound of the machine. But wait, in the last sentence, it just said Mulan was weaving. Now you cannot hear the weaving sound? Then what happened? 惟闻女叹息. 惟, which means only. 闻, again, means 听, listen. 女, we know that, female. So in this sentence, it indicates Mulan. And 叹息, sign. Okay, so 维文女叹息. Only I can hear a girl signing. So in the whole sentence, 不闻机杼声，惟闻女叹息. Now I cannot hear the sound of that weaving machine. The only thing I can hear is a girl signing. So obviously the girl is sad. 木兰's sad. Now we have to know what happened, right? So in the next sentence, it says, 问女何所思？问女何所忆？问, we know that. 问, ask. 女, here the 女 indicates 木兰. 何 is what, 什么. 所思 is thinking. So 何所思 what is she thinking? 问女何所思 ask the girl what is she thinking? And then here 问女何所忆 now we have the 忆 回忆 is memory, right? So 忆 is memory or missing something. 问女何所思问女何所忆 we ask the girl, what are you thinking? What are you missing? And then here's the 木兰's answer. 女亦无所思女亦无所忆 Yi, in ancient Chinese, yi means yeah, also. And wu, we know that. Wu is 没有. 无所思. So now we have 无所思. I have nothing to think. 女亦无所忆. I have nothing to miss. So in the last four sentences, 唧唧复唧唧，木兰当户织. We can picture that. Mulan is sitting at the front of the gate and she's weaving. And the weaving machine making the 唧唧 sound. 不闻机杼声，惟闻女叹息. Now I cannot hear the sound of the weaving machine. The only thing I can hear is a girl signing. So it's Mulan feeling sad. And now I have to ask why. 问女何所思？问女何所忆？ What are you thinking? What are you missing about? So here's the answer from Mulan. 女亦无所思，女亦无所忆. I wasn't thinking something. I wasn't missing something. But really? But she is thinking something. Now let's move on. So actually this is something Mulan thinking about. 昨夜见军帖，可汗大点兵。昨夜，昨天夜晚 last night. 见军见 is to see 看见。军帖 so 帖 is like a advertisement poster. So 军帖 basically it's a military advertise. It's in the wartime and the military is recruiting soldier. So what's on that advertisement? What's on that poster? 可汗 it was the emperor at that time. 大点兵 so 大 we know that big, right? 大点兵 which means they are recruiting a lot of soldier. So the whole sentence is about Mulan saw a military recruitment ads last night, and 可汗, which is the emperor, is recruiting a lot of soldier. And 军书12卷，卷卷有爷名。军书 again is the military poster. 12卷 means 12 scroll, but actually it's not talking about 12. It means a lot. So which means there's a lot of scroll like this, because this is the book in the ancient China. And 军书12卷, which means there's a lot of military poster. And 卷卷有爷名, 卷卷, which means every scroll. And we have this grammar as well in modern Chinese. We say 天 is day, 天天 is every day, 人 is people, 人人 is every people. So same here. 卷 is a scroll, and 卷卷, which means every scroll. So what's on every scroll? It says 卷卷有爷名. So the 爷 right here, it didn't indicate to 爷爷, which is grandpa. 爷 indicates 父亲 father. 名名字 name, right? So in the whole sentence, so 卷卷有爷名, it means in every scroll there are my father's name. So 军书12卷，卷卷有爷名, which means there are many military recruitment posters, and on every scroll there's my father's name, which means Mulan's father is going to join the war. And here's a little bit of background information about ancient China. And when there's war, the emperor will try to recruit as much soldier as possible, and he will send out the scroll to list out who he's going to recruit to the military. And he will write the name of that person, so that person will have to join the army. But if that person didn't want to join the army, then he could ask his son to join the army. Now we have the problem. Not everyone have a son, right? So let's move on. He said, 阿爷无大儿，木兰无长兄. So the father, 无, which means male, 大儿, so 儿 referring to 儿子. So 阿爷无大儿, which means Mulan's father, he didn't have a son. And 木兰无长兄, Mulan didn't have a big brother. So, which means the Mulan's father's name is on the scroll. He's definitely going to the war, but Mulan's father is not in a very good health. So Mulan's very worried about his father. So that's why she made a decision. And that decision is on the next sentence. So 愿, which means 愿意, willing to. 为市, 市 right here, it's 市场, market. So what can you do in the market? Of course, buy things. So 市 in here, it means to buy. 鞍马, 鞍马 is the horse that you can use in the war. So 愿为市鞍马, which means Mulan is willing to buy the horse and the horse gear to do what? 从此替爷征. 从此, ever since then. 替, it means 代替, replace. 爷, father. 征, which means 征战, to join in the war. So this is Mulan's decision. Her decision would be 愿为市鞍马，从此替爷征. She's willing to buy the horse and the gear to join the war to replace her father. So let's review the story real quick. In the 4 sentences, it's basically talking about Mulan is a girl and Mulan's weaving the fabrics and she's very worried. Here is the things that she's worrying about because now it's the war time and she saw the military recruitment poster and her father's name was on the poster, but she's really worried about her father. Maybe he's in bad health and she's afraid that if her father joined the war, then probably her father couldn't make it back. And she's willing to replace his father and join the war. And now she made her decision, and what would she do next? She will 东市买骏马，西市买鞍鞯，南市买辔头，北市买长鞭. So basically you can see 东, 西, 南, 北, which means east, west, south, north. So 市 is market. So we have 东市, 西市, 南市, 北市. So which means the market everywhere. So she's going to the market everywhere to buy things. So she's gonna buy, 她买, to buy. So she's gonna buy 骏马, 鞍鞯, 配头长鞭. So basically, she's going to buy the horse and the gear. So this is the chapter before the war. So basically, we can know that Mulan is a girl and she's very worried about her father. So she made her decision. She's going to join the war, replace his father, and she's very well prepared. She buy the horse and the gear, and now she's ready for the war. Let's get to the second part of the article. And she is 旦辞爷娘去，暮宿黄河边. 旦 it means morning, 早上. 辞 which means 告辞 say goodbye. 爷娘 is 父亲和母亲 which is 爸爸妈妈. 去 go, right? So in the morning, say goodbye to the mother and father and just go. 暮 is 晚上 night. 宿 means 住宿. So stay, live. 黄河 is the Yellow River. You know, one of the most famous river in China, one of the biggest river in China, 黄河. 边 is side, right? Because we learned that we have 左边、右边、上边、下边、前边、后边, and the 边 means side. So let's take a good look at the whole sentence. 旦辞爷娘去. In the morning, say goodbye to the mother and the father and go. 暮宿黄河边. And at night, they're already at the side of Yellow River and they're going to stay there. Because, you know, the army is marching to the border. So now what would she see and hear at the side of Yellow River? 不闻爷娘唤女声，但闻黄河流水鸣溅溅. So since they're at the side of Yellow River, so she cannot 闻 hear. So she cannot hear 爷娘, which is 爸爸妈妈. 唤 which means 叫 is call. 女 it could be 女儿 daughter. 声 sound. So 不闻爷娘唤女声. Mulan cannot hear her father and mother calling her, but she can hear something. 但闻黄河流水鸣溅溅. So 黄河 the Yellow River, 流水 the flowing water, 鸣 is make the sound, 溅溅 is the sound of the river. All together. Now she's at the side of 黄河, the Yellow River. So right here, she cannot hear her mother and father calling her, but she can hear the sound of the flowing water in the Yellow River. The military just keep marching, right? So 旦辞黄河去，暮至黑山头. So in the morning, say goodbye to the Yellow River and keep going. 暮 again at night. 暮至 means 到 arrive to. 暮至黑山头. 黑山 is a mountain called 黑山头. It's at the side of the mountain. In this sentence, 旦辞黄河去，暮至黑山头. So in the morning, they say goodbye to the Yellow River and keep going. And at night, they arrive at Heishan. So what could Mulan see and hear at the Heishan? 不闻爷娘唤女声，但闻燕山胡骑鸣啾啾. So this sentence is same as this one, which means Mulan cannot hear her father and mother calling her 但闻燕山, but she can hear 燕山 is the mountain. 胡骑 is the name for the northern military troop, which is Mulan's enemy. 鸣啾啾, make the 啾啾 sound. So 啾啾 is the sound of the enemy marching. So now we can see in these 4 sentences, Mulan just left her hometown and stay with the military, and they just stay at wherever they are marching at. But one day they will meet the enemy. So what would that happen? So let's move on. 万里赴戎机，关山度若飞。万里 is 10,000s of miles. 赴 means 去, go. 戎机, which basically it could mean the war field. So 万里赴戎机 basically it means Mulan with her military troop. They marching thousands of miles and finally they arrive in the war field. 关山度若飞. So 关山 it means mountains and barriers. 度 it could mean 度过 like cross, go across. 若 means 好像 seems like. 飞 easy, fly, right? We have the word 飞机 airplane. So 飞 is fly. So it says 关山度若飞. So all the barriers, all the mountain, they just go across it. And they go across it so fast like flying. 朔气传金柝，寒光照铁衣. So 朔 it means north, northern. 朔气传金柝. The 柝, it's like a pot that used in the ancient times. And 传 it means pass. All right. 气 is the air because the war is at the north side of China. So 朔气传金柝. Just picture this. The war start and you can hear the sound of war starting from the north. 寒光照铁衣. 寒 means 寒冷, very cold. So 冷 is just cold. 寒冷 it means very cold. And 光 means light, right? 照 it means shine on. 铁衣 铁 is iron. 衣 is clothes. So iron, clothes, that could be this because this is what the soldier wear in the old times. The light shined on the iron clothes in the very, very cold northern border. 朔气传金柝，寒光照铁衣. Basically, you can picture this. This is how it looked when the war started. What happened after? 将军百战死，壮士十年归. 将军 is the general and the soldier. 百战, we know 百 is 100, 200, 100, right? 百 is 100. 战 is 战争. So 百战 is not specifically talking about 100 war. It's referring to many, many war. 死, we know that it's dead. So the sentence 将军百战死, which means the military went through countless war and a lot of them were dead. 壮士 referring to some soldier, like some strong man. 十年归, 十年, like literally it means 10 years. But it also could refers to many years. And 归 is 归来, come back. So 壮士十年归, there are some soldier come back years after. 将军百战死，壮士十年归. There are many people dead, and the person who's not dead, they come back years later. Okay, so now they come back. What would they see? 归来见天子，天子坐明堂。归来 is come back. 见 is to meet. 天子 is the emperor. So 天子 in ancient China refers to the emperor. because we believe that the emperor can do basically everything like the god. So that's like the son of the god. 明堂 could refers to a palace, a very fancy, beautiful, bright palace. So 天子坐明堂, the emperor sit at the palace. Okay, so this is what they see. They come back to see the emperor. The emperor sits in the bright palace. Then what are they going to do? So 册勋十二传, 赏赐百千强. 册勋 basically it means give you an offer, like give you a reward. 十二 means 12, but you know, in here it's not necessarily have to be 12. It could refers to many. 传, it could be levels, all right? So 十二传, it could be many levels. Okay, so 册勋十二传, basically it means the emperor's going to offer the soldier a very high position. And 赏赐, 赏赐, it means reward, giveaway. 百千强, that is a lot of money. 册勋十二传, 赏赐百千强, which means the emperor's going to offer the soldier a very high position and give them a lot of reward, a lot of money. 可汗问所欲, 木兰不用尚书郎. 可汗, the emperor. 问, ask. 所欲, 欲 means 欲望, desire, want. So 可汗问所欲, the emperor asked Mulan, what do you want? And 木兰不用尚书郎. 尚书郎 is a position in the government. The name is 尚书郎, alright? So it's a position. 不用, 不用, here it means 不要. 可汗问所欲, 木兰不用尚书郎. Basically, it says the emperor asked Mulan, what do you want? I'm gonna reward you. And Mulan said, 不用尚书郎. No, I don't want that high position. But what does Mulan want? 愿驰千里足, 送儿还故乡. 愿意, willing to. 驰, it means go. And 千里, thousands of miles. 足 is foot. So here, 愿驰千里足, basically it means Mulan wants to ride a horse for thousands of miles. 送儿还故乡, 故乡 is hometown. 还 is go back. I know this 汉字, it could be 还. When it pronounced as 还, it means still. When it pronounced as 还, it means return. Okay, now it's 还, return. 还故乡, which means return back to the hometown. 送儿还故乡, which means send me back to my hometown. So this is what Mulan wants. Mulan 愿驰千里足, 送儿还故乡. She wants to take the horse to ride for thousands of miles just to go back to her hometown. Here is the part 2, and it's about the war. So we know that Mulan and the military troop, they went through a lot. They just march thousands of miles to the north and fight with their enemy, and they survive, and they come back, and the emperor was so happy, and the emperor is going to offer them high position. The emperor asked Mulan, what do you want? And Mulan said, I don't want that high position. I just want to take a horse and ride for thousands of miles and go back to my hometown. So the next part would be what would happen after she arrived in the hometown. So, 爷娘闻女来，出郭相辅将. 爷娘 is the mother and father. 闻 here. 女 女儿 来 come back. So the mother and the father hear that, my daughter is coming back. 出郭相扶将. 出郭, 郭 is the city, the town. So they are going out of the town. 相扶将, because they're old, so they're holding each other to support each other, and they're going out of the town. Just imagine this. The daughter is coming back from the war field, from the up north, and the parents hear that, my daughter is coming back. I'm gonna pick her up. 阿姊闻妹来，当户理红妆。阿姊 is 姐姐, is the big sister. 闻 here, 妹妹来 come back. So the big sister hear that, my little sister is coming back. 当户理红妆. 当户 is at the door. 理 could be 整理 fixing. 红妆 妆 is 化妆, right? So she put on her makeup. 小弟闻姊来，磨刀霍霍向猪羊。小弟 little brother. Yeah, we didn't mention about her little brother, but in the first chapter, we mentioned that Mulan doesn't have a big brother, so she wants to replace her father. Maybe when she was taking her father's spot, Mulan's little brother cannot be a soldier because he was just a little kid. So 小弟闻姊来, 姊 is 姐姐. So the little brother heard that, my big sister is coming back. 磨刀 is sharpening the knife. 霍霍 is the sound of sharpening the knife. 向 towards. 猪羊 猪 pig, 羊 sheep. So 磨刀霍霍向猪羊. The little brother just sharpening the knife, going to kill the pig and the sheep because he's going to make a big meal to celebrate. And then finally, Mulan's back. Mulan, 开我东阁门，坐我西阁床. So 开我东阁门, I'm gonna open the east door of my room. 坐我西阁床, I'm gonna sit on the bed at the west side of my room. So it's just telling you that she's doing stuff in her room. She's opening up the room and like filling the room. 脱我战时袍，着我旧时裳。脱 we know 脱衣服 is take off the clothes. 战时 wartime. 袍 is the robe. So 脱我战时袍, I'm gonna take off my war clothes. 着 which means 穿 to put on. 旧时 old time. 长 clothes. So I'm gonna put on my old time clothes. And then 当窗理云鬓，对镜贴花黄。当窗 is facing the window. 理整理 to fix. 云鬓 鬓 is 头发 hair. 云鬓 is which means the hair is as beautiful as cloud. You know the hairstyle in ancient time for girl, like pretty much like this. 对镜 对 is face to. 镜 is 镜子 mirror. 贴 is to stick on, like put on. 花黄 is the makeup product in ancient China. In these three sentences, it tells us what Mulan did after she arrived home, right? She filled the room, she changed the clothes, and she put on her makeup. And after that, 出门看伙伴，伙伴皆惊忙. So, 出门 go out, 看 to see, 伙伴 is the partner, friend, which is other soldier in the troop. 接 is all. 惊忙 shocked. Why are they shocked? 同行12年，不知木兰是女郎。So 同行 we walk together, we live together, all together for 12年. So it could be 12 years and it could be many, many years. The other soldier be with Mulan for so many years. 不知 they don't know. 木兰是女郎 girl. And they've been together for so many years and they don't know Mulan's a girl. So apparently Mulan's doing a great job. She acts completely like a boy. And in the last sentence, it's a metaphor. 雄兔脚扑朔，雌兔眼迷离。双兔傍地走，安能辨我是雄雌 Okay. 雄 is male. 雌 is female. 雄兔 a male rabbit. 雌兔 female rabbit. There are different characteristics of male rabbit and female rabbit, right? So what are the characteristics? 雄兔脚扑朔 For the male rabbit, they like to shake their leg. 雌兔眼迷离 So as for the female rabbit, they like to kind of half open their eyes, half open, half closed. So it's easy to tell which rabbit is a male rabbit, which one is the female rabbit. But 双兔傍地走 when two rabbits walk together, 安能辨我是雄雌 辨 is 分辨 distinguish 安能 means how, can 我是 I am 雄雌 male or female. The whole sentence 雄兔脚扑朔雌兔眼迷离 So there are different characteristics for female rabbit and male rabbit, but 双兔傍地走，安能辨我是雄雌 When the two rabbits walk together, how can you know which one is female and which one is male? So it's a metaphor. It indicates that Mulan did a great job in the military. She is completely a boy and no one can recognize her as a girl because everyone thought we are the same. Well, that's the story of Mulan in the ancient literature and also the original version of Mulan. So if you're still here, I really appreciate it. If you're interested in this story, here is the translation for the story. So you can see on this side is the ancient version. It's written in ancient literature. And this side, it's written in modern Chinese. And I will attach the English translation after this and make it a PDF. If you're interested in the story, you can download the PDF from my website, mandymandarin.com, and I'll drop the link down below in the description box. Last but not least, Mulan actually was a song. It was a song in the old times. Being a song, it should rhyme, right? But we just read it. It's not really rhyme. Why is that? So here's a little bit of history information. China has a long history, right? Thousands of years of history. And during these thousands of years, the language evolved as well. You know, Hanzi evolved, and also the pronunciation evolved. And we have other culture coming to China from the north part. So the modern Mandarin we're speaking today is not the Chinese that people spoke in the ancient time. And here's a map of the Chinese dialect. You know, we have many different dialects in China. The ancient pronunciation was preserved in the southern language, which can be Cantonese, Hokkien, Hakka, and so on. So which means if you read some poem nowadays, we read it in modern Mandarin, but back 2,000 years ago, it's not pronounced in the modern Mandarin. but how do the ancient people pronounce it? Maybe it could be closer to Cantonese, Hakka, Hokkien, or other southern dialect. And I happens to be Cantonese. If I read the poem of Mulan in Cantonese, probably it sounds closer to what the ancient people pronounce. So I tried to pronounce it in Cantonese, and it turns out it rhymes. So if we read it in Mandarin, just like what we did just now, then the first few sentences would be 唧唧复唧唧，木兰当户织。不闻机杼声，惟闻女叹息。问女何所思？问女何所忆？女亦无所思，女亦无所忆。Yeah, it rhymed a little bit like the e and e, 思 and 思 and 思 and e. It also rhymed a little bit, but as for the 知 xi, e, yeah, it's not really. But if we read in Cantonese, that would be 唧唧復唧唧，木蘭當戶織，不聞機杼聲，惟聞女嘆息。問女何所思？問女何所憶？女亦無所思，女亦無所憶。So you can see we have 唧、識、憶、憶. All right. Yeah, so I just want to show you a few sentences of that, and it rhymes, and it could be a beautiful song in ancient China. Well, that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoy it, and if you have any thoughts or idea or advice about today's video, please drop your thought in the comment section. I'm Mandy. I'll see you in the next video.